3, 2, 1. Hello everyone. Welcome to Ed Talk TV, Conversations Worth Having. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm just going to pop in on the mobile, the phone here. Don't you love that word, mobile? I know UK viewers, you guys say that a lot. One of my friends who was studying in London for a while, she actually had that on her voicemail and still has it on her voicemail, and I just love saying that. So there you go. Welcome to those joining, just checking in, make sure that we're live. This is always a good thing to do when you have the option to have multiple devices. You definitely want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Hey, everyone's tuning in. Awesome and perfect. Okay, so how's everyone's day? Monday, it's a little crazy. Not going to lie. Erica knows if she's tuning in, because we just had this conversation a little while ago, that it's been interesting, but hey, it's working out, so it's good. If this is your first time joining, welcome. Be sure to comment, not just for my sake, but for your sake. It's all about you putting yourself out there. I always say the magic happens in the comments, because it does. You could say hello, and the next thing you know, you're having a full-on conversation, not just with me, but others in the comments. And then you never know who you're going to meet. And that has led to, a relationship. Not necessarily matchmaking. I mean, that's cool. If that happens on the Ed Talk TV show, like, more power to you. Awesome. But what I'm talking about is relationship building between you and a possible customer, you and a possible partner, in terms of business, all that kinds of stuff. So don't hesitate, even if it's just say, hello, I'm catching the replay, because I know most of you will. Don't forget to share it out, even if you're watching the replay. It's always nice to share. And when you're live, you always want to have water, because that really helps keep everything going. So there you go. So if you missed, today's Monday. Boy, am I off on days. So funny. If you missed Friday's episode, was that not fire? You guys, was that not fire? When you showed up on Friday and you watched Friday's episode, whether it was live or the replay, were you just not like, what just happened here? Like, Ed just blew us away. We had the whiteboard, the Vanna, I'm going to do that there, boom. We had it all planned out. Like, it was awesome. We had so much fun. And actually, we're going to carry that conversation on a little bit today, and then also big time on Wednesday. Wednesday, we're going to try something new. We're going to actually have a couple guests on the show. So fingers crossed, Tech will work with us. I'm glad we didn't do it today, because Tech has been all over the board. How many of you guys can agree that Tech has been a little iffy today? I will tell you from this morning, it's been a very productive day, and things have been going great. Client work, my work, Hey Ed membership, which I put a pinned comment. There's a dog outside, not mine. That was just howling. And then I put a pinned comment here for those who are maybe interested or want to check out the new Hey Ed membership. That's basically where you get me and an awesome community. I'm so excited. A lot of you guys have already jumped on that, and I'm so excited to have you there. And I'm so thankful that you wanted to be a part of that and that we're just jumping into it. And we now have our own private social network. Yes! It's so awesome. I'm so excited about it. If you couldn't tell, but it's a game changer. It's a game changer. And I'm happy to have a lot of you guys along for the ride, and being in there, and it's only going to get better because of you guys. So there's that info, little tidbit there for those who are new. But like I was saying, there was little glitches this morning, not necessarily with that, but just with websites in general and stuff. And then a few clients had some tech glitches with their devices, things like that. We all have them. Thankfully, everything has gone in the right direction, so we're good. So tell me, how is your day going? I know I see a lot of you guys popping in and just getting started. A lot of you guys are going to catch the replay. You know how cool would that be if I could pop in on the replay? No. Okay, so see, this is how my brain works. And we're going to get to today's content. Don't worry. But this is how my brain works. literally, I was just thinking, how interesting would that be if you caught the replay of this and somehow I knew, now see, Facebook, I'm giving you some tips here, and this could be really, really good. Really good. So you're welcome. Okay? Keep me in mind, remember. So, as I was saying, when you watch the replay, how cool would this be if when you log on to watch the replay, I pop on, the host, and my voice says, welcome, Mickey. Welcome, Angela. Welcome, Tim. Like, how great, would you just be like, I don't know, would that be a cool feature? That literally just came to my head right now. Like, literally as I was talking. That's how it works around here. That's why I always joked before that creative agencies, ad agencies, those types of places should have me on retainer. Because there's so much up here that I cannot possibly do by myself. And it's like, you guys would be making bank. I'm telling you. Copyrighted, right? I know. That would freak me out as well. I know it would be spooky in a good way. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, you just wait. We're just getting started, and I don't mean this live broadcast. You know what I'm talking about. That's why you guys show up, and that's why you guys are here. So I am so excited. Okay, so today we're going to talk about, and we're not really going to do random news today because I'm just like, there's been a lot going on today, and I just walked the dogs, so I was like, you know what, we're just going to pop on, we're going to say what we need to say, and then we're going to pop off and go from there. Where was I going on my computer? By the way, if you're new, I use my computer, which is what I'm looking down at, so that I can have multiple screens up. And I only usually go live from the phone if I'm on the go. So there's that. But we were talking about Friday. Oh, that's what I was looking for. See, it takes a second. I was looking to see what the title is for this episode because it had something to do with Innovate or Be Left Behind. Boom. I couldn't find it, but it came to me. So Innovate or Be Left Behind. We sort of talked about that a lot on Friday. How does that work? We sort of talked about that a lot. I don't know. But we talked about that on Friday, and we had great conversation about that. And we talked about Toys R Us, the collapse of it, how it's going down. If you didn't know that, it's sad news. I know, no more Toys R Us kids. But let's just talk about that for a second, because it's important to realize that, it's not just about Toys R Us, because that's the business, right? We talked about that. You have Toys R Us, which is the business. Then underneath that, you have the branches, which would be, the team members, the stores, the toys, the inventory. But then at the top, you have the actual landlords, because I don't know if Toys R Us actually owns all of their stores. I'm guessing they have some that are leased. So there's typically going to be a landlord that starts that process, and then the business, and then the team, and then the stores, and so forth, right? So when you put all that into perspective, it's like, whoa, that's a lot. And it's not just the store, it's all of that. But then you also have to think about the fact that it's not just a business. It's not just a store. It's not just a name. It's not just this thing that we're used to, especially if you are a kid now, or if you are an adult, which we all are, most of us. But you realize that it actually goes deeper than that, because it's not just the store. It's that whole idea of, I just want to be a Toys R Us kid. That's what I want to do, right? That's what you want to do. They made us feel, right? They made us feel that we could always be a kid the minute we walk into that store. We can find the right toy that's going to be with us all the time, right? there was a My Buddy, and there was the girl version. I don't remember the name, but like those were really big. The Cabbage Patch Kids. I mean, uh, I don't know. American Doll, is that one? I don't know if that was newer or not, but like there's these iconic toys that really stand out for a lot of us, young and old, and we think about those and we're like, wow, like those are the things that we are on, that we just gravitate towards. And so we have to think about, like, how did the business evolve, and how did it make us feel, right? Because that's the thing. You are probably working on your business. If you don't have one yet, you might be starting one or thinking about it because you're like, hey, somebody said, go check out this guy Ed. He seems super cool. Like, why not? Oh, now I want to have a business because it just seems like a cool thing to do, right? Like you have to figure out what you're passionate about and think about what it makes you feel inside. Because it starts with you, remember? You are the one that starts everything. Whether or not you hire somebody later for other things, that's a different story. But it all starts with you and what you feel and what you're going to put out in the world, right? So let's see. I was thinking about the movie The Founder, about McDonald's. Oh, yeah, yeah. If I remember correctly, they started buying their land. They were their own owners. That's an interesting point. Yeah. And that's the thing. I haven't done research, you guys, on Toys R Us and to see how many stores they actually own. So they could own quite a bit. But at the same time, there's still something going on. But that's a good point there. Has a sparkle in his eyes today. Watch out. This hour could be fun. Vicky, you're awesome. You guys crack me up. Yeah. Because I feel it, right? I don't just feel this show. I don't just feel, our interaction during this typical hour. I feel it all day long. And that's what makes me want to get up in the morning. That's what makes me want to stay up all day long and not go to sleep. Because I want to really show up, deliver, and engage with you guys. And in multiple ways, right? And so there's that feeling of satisfaction because I can help you. There's that feeling of wanting to make it easier, which is still ties into helping you. Of course, everything I say is going to help you, but there's different feelings that go on, and you really have to understand that's what your business needs to be. That's whatever product or service that you're putting out there. That's why we're so attached to Toys R Us. How many of us have shopped at Toys R Us, though, recently? And now here's another fun fact. Actually, tell me, even if you're watching the replay, tell me if you saw this. Gary Vee had a small clip that I actually shared on Friday's post. So if you wanted to, you can go look at it. But Gary Vee was talking about how Toys R Us, if I remember correctly, Toys R Us actually got into a deal with Amazon where they were selling their toys through Amazon. Now, I don't know the whole deal, and I saw this on Friday, so I can't remember the whole thing. But it was very interesting because of the fact that now they were rerouting their traffic, their customers. They were training their customers not to come to them, but to go to Amazon, somebody else, where they can get distracted, where they can start buying other things and getting more comfortable. You see where I'm going? This is why it's important to always drive people back to your website. It's why it's important to have a website. You guys, I don't even care if you have one page on your website that literally just is your homepage and gives you some info. Like, that is fine. That is okay. Whatever you need to do to get it done, get it done. All I need to know is that you have a web page. I'm just going to say page instead of site because that might freak some of you guys out. All you need is a web page. One page. You can expand later, We're just going to start simple, but one page that literally tells me who you are, what you do, what you offer, how I can get in contact with you. That's really the bare basics, right? That's all you really, really need to have a web presence. And then you can build on that later. Don't just send me to your Facebook page because you don't have a website. Get a website. That way it's yours and you can direct people there from social media. Remove me from the distraction, because we're over here on social media, right? Remove me from that distraction, get me to your website so that I can learn about you. I can understand what you do without being distracted. I can get in contact with you without having to try to face Facebook Messenger, because it's still a distraction. How many of you guys use Facebook Messenger for business? And that's a loaded question, and I want you to answer honestly. What I mean by that is, whether or not that's your primary connection with your audience, with your clients, your customers, whatever, that's fine. Like, whatever works for you works for you. But how many of you are using Facebook Messenger for business? And you can explain what you mean, what you actually mean by that, right? So, example is, for me, I don't typically use Facebook Messenger for my business. I want everything to go via email because that's my mode of contact. That's what I want to be able to use. I want it one single place. I want it easy for me and for my clients to go through. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't reach out every once in a while, especially new, through Facebook Messenger, because it's convenient. And sometimes they don't know, right? We don't know that there's these other options to go for. So we just go with the one that we're used to or one that's convenient. It's just like when somebody calls us and we want, instead of being on the phone, we want to text them. It's that convenience. We're just used to texting, right? We don't really want to be on the phone. So it's one of those things where we go through there. So you have to reroute people, redirect them. So yes, you can answer on your Facebook Messenger, but let them know where they need to go. This is excellent. I'm so glad to hear from you. If you could please head to my website and fill out the contact form there, I'd be glad to get in touch with you. Or here's the link to my website with that information. Please use the contact form there. Whatever you got to do, but you're the one in charge. You're the one who needs to let them know what's up. Like, what do you want? Help me help you. That was backwards, but here we go. Help me help you. There you go, right? So think about that. You set up a bot for Messenger, but not really. Okay, yeah, good food for thought. Yep. Only Facebook Messenger to set up interviews for my lives. Nice, nice. So that's good. You guys have your idea, your rules, right, for how you go about communication with your business. And I point this out because a lot of us will, especially when starting out in business, will just say, yeah, I'm available 24/7. You can email, phone, text, Skype, Facebook Messenger, FaceTime me, whatever you want, no problem. What? No. When somebody has, I have been told that before from other people, and I look at them now and I'm like, yeah, I have office hours, so I'll be sure to let you know via email during that time. Have a good weekend. You know, like that's because that's my business and that's how I wanted to run my business. I don't want to be available 24/7. If I'm going to be available 24/7, you better believe it's going to be a huge premium price. So I'm not saying it can't happen. It can, but it's going to be a big premium because that's a lot of work. And I don't mind doing that, but it's a lot of work. So you have to understand that when you're building your business and going through there, that you really have to be in control. I mean, this is your business. You have to be in control, and you have to set those rules. You have to set those office hours, you know, and it all depends too on your business. Like I said, it's how you want to frame it. or reframe it, and how you want to go through and train, because we all have to train each other, right? Whether you're a customer, a client, a vendor, whatever, you have to train the other parties involved. So you're going to have to train your audience, those members, of what it is you are expecting, what it is you want to do. You know, if you're only going to work for, let's say, 2 days a week because you have other things going on and this is just a side business for you, you need to let people know. Let them know, hey, I'm only open Monday and Tuesday. See you the rest of the week, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like, let people know up front. You know, there's another reason, or that's another reason why, that's hilarious. There's another reason, you guys like that, those little breaks, if you're listening, because I know a lot of people might not be watching this, they're probably listening with their headphones in while they're at the gym or washing dishes or whatever, or maybe falling asleep for UK viewers. You just love hearing that, like just that, you know, it's just, I don't know, whatever. You guys love me, so it's all good. But, so here's an example. I have, well, actually, before I tell you this, let me just ask you, how many of you guys have an email signature? How many of you guys have, well, you all have an email signature. Let me be more specific, because you're going to be like, duh, Ed, that comes with every email client. How many of you are using your email signature? How many of you, even if you're watching the replay? Why do I ask? Because every email that I send out, well, every email that you send out, that's real estate, valuable real estate. And if you're just leaving the sent from iPhone, sent from Android, sent by Verizon, sent by AOL, like, what? Why are you going to advertise them? This is your email. This is your email. Good. Okay, good. You guys are starting to say yes. Okay, cool. Just say yes. So, yeah, use your email signature. Revise it as needed. Like, just because you set it up doesn't mean it's set and forget. It's just like your website. It's a living, breathing document. You can update it as frequently as you need to. For instance, I have it in my email signature, and I just actually updated mine because of the new Hey Ed. So I wanted to make sure that people are aware of that, especially people that, you know, have worked with me in the past, or, you know, people that just know me and maybe don't know what services I offer. So I just have that in there now. But my email signature always has my name, my business title, my website, and now it has my Hey Ed membership information. Just a little one-liner. But then, can you guess what it has? Based off of the conversation we've had so far? Can you guess? So then, in my email signature, I have my office hours. Yeah. And I also put email is the best way to contact me. Why? Because why not give all the information that I want people to know up front? That way, if they email me on, say, Tuesday at 11 p.m., they're not going to expect me to be there at Tuesday at 11:01 p.m. typing them an email back. They're going to expect me to get back to them most likely on Thursday, because technically I'm off on Wednesdays. So they have that expectation and they know what's working. And then that way they realize that I'm not just ignoring them, that I didn't just forget about them. Now, of course, you know, some may not remember, but hey, guess what? It's in that email, and if anybody references the email, they know it's there, right? Let me just look at the comments real quick. I don't have the phone email signature on my phone. I paste it in sometimes, though. Yeah, you need to automate that, Mickey. Definitely automate that. and we can talk about that in the group too if you want. Uh, Office hours, yes. Sticking to office hours, yeah. And you guys, so here's the thing. So I know it's a little weird. It may be weird to set office hours because you're like, oh, Ed, office hours. I mean, that sounds like a great thing, but I can't. I can't. I got to be doing X, Y, Z all the time. Listen, you're setting office hours for the most part to protect you and what you need to get done. It sets expectations for yourself and for your clients. Now, are you going to break those rules every once in a while? Of course. There's going to be emergencies. There's going to be things that come up. And just because you clock off at 6 p.m. doesn't mean you can't check your email and try to follow up to somebody later if it's an emergency. But having office hours helps your mind think more about, okay, I got to get X, Y, Z done by 6 p.m. or whenever your cutoff hour is, your technical cutoff hour, right? You can still keep going, but the whole point of office hours is to help you stay within a certain parameter so that way you can get as much as done as possible. Because here's the thing, when you know you have a time limit, you're going to work a little bit harder. That's why we have deadlines. That's why we have appointments, because we have to have that in there. We have to start thinking about what we have to get done versus if I just say, if you have no office hours and it's a Monday and you have, I don't know, 50 emails. I know some of you guys are probably laughing because you're like, Ed, try like 1,500. I know, I've seen some of your inboxes. But let's just say 50 emails and you have this long list of things to do, both for yourself and for your clients. How are you supposed to organize that list and those emails and have priorities if you don't have office hours? I mean, you can certainly go through and manually organize your list and then go through and check each email, but what happens when you start going on Facebook? What happens when you start going on Twitter? What happens when you start doing all of these things like the laundry and the neighbor wants to go, grab a drink down the street and whatever, XYZ. Next thing you know, it's 8 p.m. and you maybe answered a couple emails and maybe checked one thing off your list, and then you're stressed out, worried about how you're going to get everything done because tomorrow you have 2 appointments and you have all these things that you need to get done, but not enough time. Well, you had the time, but you didn't set office hours. So you have to think about that. And this all ties into where we're going with being innovative, right? You have to think about the change and what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Now, it may not all come at once. It may take a while. It could take years. But the point is that you're aware of your situation and what you're putting out there and what you want to be having come back to you. So, we talked about how you got to feel it. You got to be passionate about it. For those of you who haven't started your business, or maybe you just started but you're kind of on the fence, that's where you need to tune in to yourself. Like, stop, tune in, and ask yourself, do you actually care enough about this for the long haul? Because it will be years before it really starts to take off. Most likely. I hope it's before that, but I will tell you from experience and from talking to other entrepreneurs that most of the time you are looking at years before you really start taking off. And when I say taking off, that can mean so many different things for you. That can mean consistent, reoccurring income, a good level that will help you stay on your stand on your own 2 feet. That could mean solid client work all the time, which is kind of ties into making the money, but not necessarily, because you could have consistent client work but still not be making the money because you haven't made any changes in your model, your business model. right? You haven't thought about going from hourly to packages. Because when you first start out, you're probably used to hourly from your 9 to 5. And so that's just what you'll go with. And then you realize, wait, it's not really going to work, because that's not enough. If I get everything done, that's one of those things where you have to think about, and you have to stay up on it. And it's a lot of work. I mean, you guys know, you see it here on the page, you see it in the lives, you see it in the group. You're going to see a lot more for those who are in the Hey Ed group, but it's one of those things that you really have to be innovative all the time. Now, that's not to discourage you at all from doing what you're doing. And for those who think, oh, Ed, but I'm not creative, I don't know. It's not about that. It's about just being aware and doing your research and knowing that there are options. You have tools, you have resources out there. I mean, one, obviously you have here. This is your free resource right here that you're tuning into, even if it's your first time. You have, I think this is 50, I think this one's 56 episode. So you have 55 episodes behind now that you can go catch up on. You have a lot more on edtroxel.com now that you have a clean area for Learn from Ed, with blog posts, with podcast episodes, with Hey Ed membership now. You have Stupid Easy, which is my other business that has free courses on there. Not only from me, but there's a social media one from a good friend Jordan that's really popular. So you have your tools, you have your resources, both free and paid, and you just have to understand that you have to now prioritize, which goes back to office hours and figuring out your time constraints, right? And thinking about where you're spending your time, and how are you spending your time? For instance, I'll use me for an example for this show. So if you're tuning in Monday through Friday for an hour on average to watch this show, and you're learning a lot, which is great, but you're not implementing anything, then there's a problem, right? Like, it's good to learn, and I want you to be here. Trust me, I want you to be here. I want you to engage with each other. I want you to soak up whatever knowledge I can share with you that's going to be beneficial. But I also want you to engage, but I want you to go ahead and implement. Like, that's the important factor. That's with any training that you get, from audio, video, or just reading. Like, you have to be able to pause, take what you have learned, and start implementing it, even if it's just a test, right? Like, if you don't have a website yet, we'll go back to that example. If you don't have a website yet because you don't have the tech skills, well, you can either hire somebody or you can take a course. Those are paid options, or the free option would be to research and to spend time learning that. Notice I said spend time, not spend money, because most of the time you're going to be spending your time trying to figure those things out. So you just have to figure out what it's going to be worth for you. You know, here's a simple example that's not even tech related. Well, I mean, it's tech related, but it's real life. I got my oil changed today, and they asked me if I wanted the light bulb that goes above my license plate in the back. It was burnt out. So they said, hey, you know, your light bulb's burnt out. Do you want us to replace it? It's $10. Sure, why not? Now, can you guess how much that light bulb really costs? You have any idea? I'll let the comments come in for a second. The light bulb was $2.99. So $3, maybe $4 with tax. Close. Yeah, $2.99. So I paid $10 to have it put in. Probably like $1. Yeah. That would be probably if I got it at the dollar store. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the dollar store now sells those. That would be cool. But here's the thing. Yeah, $3. Here is the thing. Is that, thank you guys for all the guesses. That's awesome. Good participation. I love that. Here's the thing. I may have spent $10, which in my mind is pretty much a tip. But here's the thing. That was $10 well spent. Why? Because I didn't have to go drive to another place, go look for the light bulb, which means I'd have to research because I don't know the exact light bulb, and then go unscrew everything, unpop the light bulb, pop the other one back in, screw it back. That already there, probably with all of that, by the time I got home and did all of this, would have been probably around an hour. $10, and they did it in less than 2 minutes. Literally like, boom, okay, it's done. Awesome, I'm out. While they were doing that, I was able to finish up my tech support chat for one of my websites that was having tech glitches. It was a win-win. Win-win. Now, of course, if it was like $50, well, now we're going to be a little more picky, and I might be able to make some time to go do it myself for a $3 bulb. But for $10, please. I mean, that's why, another example, that's why there's some of you guys who have said yes and have subscribed already to the Hey Ed membership. Why? Because you know that even at, it's currently only $37, but even at $37 a month, you're like, that's way cheaper than one, hiring Ed one-on-one to have that conversation. Two, I know I'm going to get a lot of stuff for that whole month versus just one call. I mean, you can't even get a tech call, and I'm not even talking about me. If you were to hire somebody to come to your house, you're going to be paying at least $75 an hour for them to come to your house, if not more. Like, it's crazy, right? So you have to think, okay, what are the parts of the equation, and what is your time going to be worth for that? If you don't want to pay something or somebody, then you have to understand that it's going to take your time. But if you don't have the time to do it, then that basically means that you have to pay somebody, or it just doesn't get done. And so going back to your website example, it's the same thing. If you know you need a website and you want to have a website, well, now you need to implement and replace website with whatever example, whatever real life example is for you that you're struggling with right now. Just implement it. Like, put it at the top of your list. Say you have office hours for XYZ and make it happen. And if that means that you can't show up here for a day or two or maybe a week, I'm okay. My feelings will not be hurt, I promise you. I would rather, here's the thing, I would rather you guys go implement and come back strong and be like, Ed, what's up? Let me be a guest on the show. I need to talk about the strategy that you told me, the implementation that I had, and let me show my website. Done. And if you guys didn't know, for those who are new, you can become a guest on Ed Talk TV. It's free. We're actually going to have a guest tomorrow. I'm super excited, speaking of websites, tomorrow to talk about website about page. I kind of messed that one up because I was thinking of the title and I was like, I don't want to give it out yet. So we're going to be talking about your about page for your website. So even if you don't have a website yet, you can learn about your about page. So don't forget to mark your calendars for tomorrow. So I'm telling you that you can miss my episodes, but don't miss tomorrow, okay? We'll just put that out there. And then don't forget to invite your friends. Bring a friend because it's going to be good. Let me look at, if I'm not happy with your Hey Ed answers, I'll just drive down there and knock on your door. Yes, Erica will. And come and knock on my door. We talked about that on Friday. So, you know, that's what I want you guys to start thinking about. Again, I appreciate you being here, and I want you to show up. I want you to learn and engage and share that knowledge with others. But I want you to think bigger. It's part of that BSQ method. Think big, act small, move quickly. Your think big is whatever you need to get done. Your act small is making these little sacrifices like missing ed time. I know, it's sad. But missing ed time to go ahead and make that move. Because I would much rather have you spend a week's time doing the work and then coming back strong and getting you on the show. Showing what you did to inspire others. That's what's going to make me feel good right here, is knowing that we got that done. So think about that with whatever you're doing. It's one of those things that it's important to learn, but it's also important to implement. And I know some of you guys will do that even during the show, which is awesome. It's so cool. It's like a live training, right? Every day we're basically doing a free live training, which is awesome. And some of you are able to actually implement right away. Some of you might be implementing afterwards, which is great. But you do need to make sure you mix it up. Because I'll tell you, even for myself, I'm in the middle of, I just returned one book. I have another one that I'm trying to finish so that I can get on to Gary V's Crushing It. And then I have another one, which I don't even really know that I actually ordered it, but somehow I got it. So I'm going to have to look it up. But I have all these books that I have to read. And it's weighing me down because I'm on a time limit because I borrow them from the library instead of buying them all the time. I know I said order, but that's what I meant. I get all these books from the library because it helps keep me on task. Because, I don't know, what about you guys? If you buy your books, do they end up sitting around for a while before you actually read them? And it doesn't have to be business books. It can be whatever. It doesn't matter. It's one of those things that if none of us showed up on Ed Talk TV one day, then Ed's doorbell rang. That would be hilarious. Think about that. And is only $12.40? Yeah, on Amazon right now. That is good. I put the link on my Facebook profile. Nice. Yeah, and that's the thing. For me, it's not necessarily about not buying the book, because I can buy books. Like, that's not a problem. I don't mind spending the money to support people for buying those books. The problem that I have, because here's the thing, I don't know if you guys know this or if I talked about it before, but when I was younger, / before I started my business full time, I actually didn't like reading books. I mean, I like the idea. I like the titles. I like going to the bookstore. I like buying books and reading the table of contents and maybe the first 5 pages maybe before I would fall asleep and then put it on a shelf and then forget about it. Yeah, that happens a lot. So for me, I had to do something different. I had to change my behaviors in order to make sure that I stay up with what I'm trying to learn. Because that's part of being innovative, right? You have to do your research. You have to stay up on all the things that are going on, and it's a lot of work. But for me, what's worked is not buying the books, but going to the library and checking them out. Because now I'm on a time limit. And we all know for books like Gary V's, you can't renew it right away. It's on everyone's list. I mean, it took forever to get to me. So now I have to really push myself to get through. I think I only have 2 weeks. I'm telling you guys this because now it's putting me on deadline. But you have to find whatever works for you to get you to do it. And if that means having me tell you, then that works for me as well. It's one of those things that, wait, maybe you guys are talking to each other. I'm catching up on the comments. Do I like the deadline pressure? If that's for me, yes, sort of. Yes, as in, I like knowing when my deadlines are. But when it comes to reading especially, just because, I don't know, there's just something about books. Now I love them a lot. But before my business, it was one of those things that I just thought, I like the idea, but I'm bored. I'm going to go to sleep. It's weird. But now I can't get enough. But then I also don't have enough time I don't make enough time to go through and read them as quickly as I want to sometimes, because I really have to be in that mood of being able to like really focus. Because you guys, when I read a book, I don't know, I'll just pull, we'll take Expert Secrets, because this is a popular one. So when I actually read a book, it takes me a long time because I literally am sitting there analyzing every page. Not necessarily for grammar, because no, we already know that. Not for, like what's the picture, this is just a random page. But because I'm really trying to absorb what they're talking about. And then my brain is also processing, what can I do? How can I implement that? Should I do this now? Like squirrel, right? Like that's what my brain does. And then I have to have the phone close by. So here's the distraction. I have to have the phone close by because I want to make my not mental notes, my notes. I make the mental notes, but then I have to put them out. Otherwise, they're not going to be there for very long. So then from there, I have my safety net, right? The feels good device that I'm punching in the notes. But I don't want to miss anything with the book, but I also don't want to miss anything with notifications. So you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to see what works for you, and you have to set limits for yourself. And specifically, we're talking about time limits, which is why we talked about office hours, and we talked about taking what you learn and actually implementing. It's the same. This happens a lot with online courses, which is why I created Stupid Easy. It's because with online courses, most people feel that they have to give everything that they've learned all in one course. They have to have bonus after bonus after bonus, and that they have to have like an hour-long video for each lesson, and there's 5 lessons, there's 20 lessons. I mean, you name it, but they're all very, very long. And then there's so much content in there. So then by the time you actually take the course, you're like, well, crap, I don't have any time left to actually implement. Like, that was a cool course. Yeah, it only cost me like $50. Yeah, it only cost me like $500. But now what? I got all this sitting here, but I either didn't finish it or I finished it, but I don't have time. So I'll get to it later. So the reason why I created Stupid Easy was to make it so it's shorter. It's 5 minutes each lesson. I don't care if you have 100 lessons, but they're only 5-minute videos, because we're in that stage in the game where we have to have short and sweet to the point. That's what we all want, right? I mean, even this show, an hour, it's a long time. I mean, you guys impress me every day when you show up, and I will be honest, there are times where I'm thinking, well, 5 days a week for an hour? I mean, that's a lot. Maybe we need to cut that down a little bit, whether it's shorter episodes or only a few days a week. I mean, but this is what you have to think about. You have to always be thinking, basically. And it will feel like you're a crazy person. You will question yourself a lot, which is why you got to be around the right people to make sure that you're not. And then you also have to ask yourself, what are the things that you do that are working and maybe aren't working so much, and realize you guys can see it with my website. Yes, I mean, that's a perfect example for those who have been there before. And if you're new, you'll see that it's pretty darn clean right now. It didn't start that way. But what's funny is that some of the same ideas that are currently there have been there from the start and have made their appearance every so often, but ultimately never made like the main stage until now. And so it's just very interesting when you can look back and understand that and see that you have to sometimes go the long way to figure it out, which is why we use our tools and our resources to try to help us get there a little bit quicker, whether that's spending our time or spending our money, and then we go from there. but we always have to be thinking, and we have to be implementing. And it's so funny. There's this thing, and I'll do a live on it. I don't know if I'll do it on the page here or what, but when I get the product in and I make my modifications that I think will work, if it's successful, even if it's not successful, I'll still show it to you. But when I walk the dogs, because I got two, if you didn't know that, they pull a lot. And I have what's called a gentle lead. I have this little muzzle for one. It's not, sounds bad, a muzzle, but it's supposed to help. And they sort of help, but they're 70, 80 pound dogs, and they want to do their own thing. They don't want to be tied down to me. So, unless it's feeding time. And so when it comes to that, I'm walking, and not that you should be walking and texting or walking and Facebook living, but I thought, my hands aren't free. So how am I going to be able to do anything else? Because it's always a problem. And so then I start making up these ideas of products that not that I would actually create it, unless it's super easy, but all these products that I'm like, oh, that would make it better. That would be worth trying. So I'm going to try that, hence the product I'm waiting for to come in. We'll see if my modification will actually work, because I was like, it was only $5, so we might as well try and see what happens. And then here's the thing. When you start testing like that, whether it's online or in person, you start testing and sharing that with people. Because if this modification works for this dog leash, which I have not seen with my it was only a quick hands-free dog leash Google search and an Amazon search, but I still didn't find anything that was what I was looking for. If this were to work, and it was really unique, yes, when I'm walking down the street, somebody's going to be like, that's cool, where'd you get that? Or when I post a picture, somebody's going to be like, Ed, that's awesome, where can I find one? Well, I better be ready. Which I'm not right now, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it works. That's where you get that feedback, and you understand what works and what maybe needs some improvement. So, yeah, see, Chrissy's already like, she wants one. She's already ready. I'm like, I don't have that product ready yet. But that's what I want you guys to think about, is going through and really asking yourself, how can I make this better? How can I improve on XYZ? That's going to require research. That's going to require you spending time and or money to move forward. Doesn't mean you have to jump the gun right away and start paying for something that you're not quite sure about. That's why you got to do your research first. Does that make sense? I'm going to look at the comments for a second here and get a sip of water. Yeah, it is a serious commitment. I will tell you guys, there has been days where I'm like, not that I'm like, I got to go on the show. No, I mean, every day I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Why not? But when I first started out with this show, this is what I'll leave you guys with. When I first started out with this show, the commitment, the time commitment, and I'm not talking about the time I put in before and after this show, because that's usually about an hour each, but on top of this hour, but the time and commitment that I put into the 4 to 5 p.m. most of the time for the show, 5 days a week, when I first started out with that, I was saying to myself, how the heck am I going to do this? That's a big commitment. What if I get client work that comes up? What if I go on vacation? What if I want to go to the lake? Let me tell you, when summertime comes around, Wednesdays, we might not be having an episode every once in a while. It's just the way it is. I got to get my lake time. But you know what I mean? Like, all those things are what I thought about before, which were holding me back. And that's why I said, well, we're just going to have to do it and see what happens and be consistent and have that office hour, those office hours, I should say, help me get my work done, knowing that I have a scheduled appointment every day of the week. and that I have to block off extra time here and there to be able to get things done. So I get you. I totally understand where you're coming from and what you're thinking right now. And it's a lot. And again, you have to test. You have to see what happens and realize that you may only have one day a week where you can spend 15 minutes, although I'm sure you can find a little bit more, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, where you can really sit down and implement. Maybe that's all you have. That's okay. Whatever time you can block off is better than no time. Right? It's just like saving money. I'd rather you save $1 to your savings account than waiting to try to save $50 if you're doing automatic withdrawal. I just use that as an example, right? Like I have a $50 automatic withdrawal for my savings. Now, I could have easily turned that off in order to pay off some credit cards because every month that $50 is adding up, right, in my savings. But I didn't. Why? Because I knew if I turned that off, that was a quick fix that I probably wouldn't be able to turn back on. I would make excuses. Oh, yeah, but I don't want to put $50 in my savings. No, that's too much. I'll just wait till I get another paycheck, and then I'll just put $100, and we'll just make up for it. No, we have to be consistent. We have to start small, and then you can always move up later. That's why I say don't expect yourself to jump out of the gate and go live 5 days a week for 5, 20, 30 minutes, whatever. Like, no. If you're barely okay with hitting that go live button, you need to commit to maybe once a week for a couple minutes just to get comfortable, So just apply this stuff to whatever your situation is, and hopefully this has helped with whatever you're struggling with. So anyway, that's today's episode. Woo, that was a lot. Lots of good stuff, hopefully, for you. Come back tomorrow. We are going to, and bring a friend. Don't forget to bring a friend, because we're going to be talking about your About page. Even if you don't have one, you'll learn about it, because we're going to have a special guest. And then Wednesday's episode is going to be fire. Fingers crossed all the tech will work. So thank you guys so much for joining, and I'm going to go ahead and leave you with this. Take care.